I've spoken to a number of people over the last couple of weeks who have gone from not being able to build software to being super empowered by Claude and Claude Code. They've designed a website that's genuinely good, that they're happy with, and it's on brand and it's exactly what they wanted. So instead of just publishing the website themselves, they've handed the code over to a developer to push live, or they rebuild the entire thing in Squarespace or Wix so that it would be properly hosted. But either way, they've lost it. The thing that made it good, just asking Claude to change something, has gone. In this video, I'm going to show you the workflow that keeps that capability alive permanently and for free. Once a developer owns your repo, to make any changes to your website will typically take a few days to a few weeks. It'll go into a backlog, and no matter how small that change is, there's going to be a process that you'll need to go through, not to mention the cost to keep that developer engaged. Once your design lives in Squarespace or Webflow, it means that you will need to manually make those changes yourself. You're still empowered, but it means that some of these changes might be time consuming, even when it's using a no-code platform. And it's locked inside of their editor, so Claude can't touch it. Both paths trade a 5-minute conversation with Claude for a slower and more expensive path that involves another person or a page builder. The fix isn't a better developer or a better page builder. It's not handing it off at all. I've already produced a few videos that go into a bit of detail around what Claude Cowork is. I haven't really explained what Claude Code is yet, but they are very similar. They both work with your local files, but Claude Code is typically used for development projects. So that's what I'll be using today to produce a website just to showcase this example. So we already have a brand that I've built in previous videos, which is this, the Bayside Physio. So we have the logo, typography, colors, and some variations. What I've done here is I've just pulled them apart a little bit further. So this is something that I would definitely recommend doing for any web or app design project. So I've created some design tokens, color ramp, also a neutral ramp, and then some semantic color choices as well. I've defined some more styles here in terms of different headings and typography styles. And then I've also created some very, very basic components that you would use for a web project. You can really go as far as you like with this. Typically, the bigger and more important the site is and the more consistency you want throughout the brand, the more advanced you can go. I've pulled an example here just to show you how advanced you can get. So you can get really advanced with different color, typography, spacing, and effects. And as you can see here, I've defined everything using atomic design. So you can see we have all of the atoms here that go into a lot more detail, and we build them up progressively into bigger components. And then we can go a bit further into what we call organisms, which are bigger components that are made up of molecules and atoms. And then eventually we can use all of those pieces to create full-page templates, as you can see here. So as I said, today we're really just focusing on just this basic version, and I'll show you how you can create just a basic landing page using Claude and maintaining that consistency with these patterns. So what I've done here, and just to be fully transparent, my Claude setup is pretty advanced. So I have a Figma MCP, so I can provide Claude with the link to this Figma file so that it can retrieve all of the components and style. So you can see here, I've provided the link to the Figma file here. I've also added a link to this particular folder on my desktop for the Bayside Physio. In this folder, you can see we have a number of other folders here as well. So we have the landing page, we have all of the folders that I've contained in previous videos, so around the different agents for this fictional physio clinic. We have all of our marketing materials that contains brand style guide, brand voice, content calendar, a number of different things here as well. And then we've also got some research reports. So we're essentially giving Claude access to all of this documentation. So it has all of the context, it understands exactly what we're trying to do and exactly what this fictional clinic represents. And I've included both of those links in the prompt, so it has all of the context that it needs to help us create this marketing website. So I've already done this all in advance just to save time, but I've asked Claude to start reading about the company, the marketing, the style guide, and then write a prompt for Claude Code. So I'm using Claude to write a prompt for me. So this is what we call meta prompting. I want this to be an award level website. So awards is a website where all of the award-winning websites are listed. As you can see here, there are a number of websites that have been nominated for an award. And typically this is where you find all of the best websites for inspiration. And this is what I want Claude to look at to get inspiration for the quality of website that we're trying to achieve, but also referencing the style guides and all of the other context that I've already included. Cool. And then I've also defined here, so it should only be one page. The main goal of the website is to build trust and credibility and to get online inquiries. In the future, we'll set up a booking system, patient intake, pushing to Clinico, blog, etc. So this will just be the first step of just having the landing page up. And then I've asked it to also create a couple of different versions, and then also to make sure that it's AA accessible. So you can see Claude has created a prompt for me here. And then what I'm going to do is create a new session in Claude Code, and then just copy and paste this prompt in and see what we get. Alrighty, so I'm in Claude Code now, and you can see that I have pasted that prompt in. I've provided all of the context. It knows exactly what we're trying to do. It's even pulled in all of the information about the business, but it also has included links to those different pages, so we can also refresh and get more information. And you can see the dialogue here. So it's thinking through, reading through all the reference material, and here we go. So it's provided a screenshot here, and then it's confirmed that it matches the brand style guide. Alrighty, and then it's provided links to, so I've asked for 2 websites. So one standard HTML version, another one that uses GSAP. So it includes more advanced animations, scrolling triggers, and interactivity. So it's provided those links, and then I can see also in the browser as well. So this is where we landed with the website. So this is after a couple of changes, a couple of bugs that I found. So you can see here we have move better, live better, bay life. So this is a direct tagline that was in the documents that I provided. We can see here the clear call to action to inquire, and then to also call the clinic. If we scroll down, we can see there's a bit more of a story around this fictional physiotherapy clinic. And then it's going into more detail around what they help with, how it works, the team, and then a bit more detail around the different funding pathways that they offer, information about how they support the community, and then some FAQs, and then an inquiry form. Cool. So that's everything there that I've produced. I think maybe you've noticed here on the website here, it's already actually hosted. So I've hosted this through my personal website just for demonstration. But typically what you would get out of this would be a HTML file that will be saved to your folder. So I'll just show you that too. Yep, so this is what you would typically see. So what you would get on the other end, after you've run that Claude Code conversation, you would see a folder that would contain a number of items here. Assets would represent all of the images that you've used in the website. Index is essentially the file that you would use to host all the HTML, so all of the assets and the structure of the website. Script.js would be all of the interactivity. Style would represent everything that defines the look and feel, so the colors, typography, etc. And if I click on this local file here, so you can see it's exactly what I just showed you before, except this is pointing directly to my local desktop, and this one will be accessible by anyone. You'll be able to visit this link right now and see exactly what I'm looking at. So to actually host this website, the first thing that you would need to do is go to a website where you can buy a domain. So I typically use GoDaddy, and as you can see, you'll just need to, and this one's quite expensive, but you can find some cheaper options depending on what you're after, and then you would need to just go through the process of buying that domain. I already have one, and once you've gone through that entire process, there's a number of steps. You'll likely land on a page like this, where it's a dashboard that represents that domain that you just purchased. And then what you'll need to do is click on this domain tab over here, and then what you'll see underneath is DNS. So once you click on DNS, you'll see there's an option here to add a new record. So click on that, and then you'll have an option to add a new record. Alrighty, so once you've gone ahead and purchased your domain, you will need to go back to Claude Code and work with Claude Code to push these website files to GitHub and then to Netlify. These are the 2 platforms that I use to host my personal website. So GitHub is a way to host those local files that I showed you before in the cloud. So meaning that you're hosting it in a centralized place where it's not in your computer, it's essentially on the internet, so that you can give access to other people. And then Netlify is a way where you can take those files and host them. Both GitHub and Netlify are free, providing that you're not making continuous updates. If you're only updating every so often, they're typically for free. If not, it's under $10 per month to host a pro website in Netlify. I've installed a GoDaddy connector, meaning that I rarely visit the GoDaddy website to make any changes. I can do it all remotely through Claude. I've given Claude permission to access that. I've also given GitHub and Netlify the same sort of access as well. So I rarely need to navigate over to GitHub or Netlify to change anything. I can access everything through Claude Code, which makes it very easy for me. And I'd recommend that you do the same thing. So we've gone through this entire process of creating the website files. They're currently sitting on my computer. And now I want to launch and host this website on this subdomain that I showed you before. And I've just explained here that I haven't set up a new DNS yet, but can you please push the website to GitHub and then create a new Netlify project so I can host it on the subdomain. So you can see here that Claude has gone through and approved that this is all set up correctly. It's ran everything, and then it's provided a link to the GitHub project that I can visit if I want. And then it's also done the same thing with Netlify. It's created the Bayside Physio demo Netlify app, and it's also advised that I need to set up that custom domain, and then it's provided some information that I need to give to GoDaddy for the site to be hosted. Alrighty, now back to GoDaddy. So you can see it's asking me for a number of things. So what I would need to do is make the type CNAME. I'd need to add demo as the name. I would need to add the value of Bayside Physio demo Netlify app, and then half an hour is fine. I'm just going to save that. And then you can see that has been saved here. And now I'm going to open up a fresh browser, enter in that domain, and then you can see it has been hosted. It's live. Even if I visit incognito mode and go to this website, it will work. It will work on any device as well. It's fully responsive. And that is essentially how you take your amazing concepts that you've already started building. Instead of handing them off to a developer, or instead of rebuilding it in Squarespace or Wix, you can go ahead and host it on your own for free within a couple of minutes. And if you need to make any updates to it, so for example, this has moved on to 2 lines, so maybe I want to change that to the numeral 3. I can tell Claude exactly what I want to do, click enter, and with a number of minutes, you'll see that update will be live on the website. We're done here, so it looks like it has synced, it's made the change, it's pushed it to the repo, then it's deployed to Netlify, and then it's checked to make sure that it's only the intended change that I asked for, and then it's tested and confirmed that it's live on the website, and then it's confirmed that it's done and provided the link and a bit of a summary of what has changed, and it's confirmed that it's deployed. And if we head over to the site, so you can see it's the same domain that I was looking at last time, refresh, and it's updated. So it's as simple as that. If this was helpful for you, please drop a like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about this process and you want to find out more, drop a comment below, and I'll see you next one. Bye.